Hey, everybody. Hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, as we come to our word from the word, and today that word is fall. Fall. Now, you see that picture of the water, and how many times have maybe you gone out to a pond or something like that? You try to skip a rock, or see how many skips you can get across, or even just throw something in there to see what kind of splash you can make. And I remember, I mean, as kids, we used to do all of that, and then you'd find some big rocks, and you tried to find the biggest one you could to throw it in and make the biggest splash. Well, it's one thing, when you throw those rocks into the water, they don't bounce, right? They don't bounce up out of the water. They don't go down and then begin to float back up, and so it's kind of final, right? You find that big rock, you throw it in, and then that's it. It's no coming back. Same thing if you were to throw it in the ocean, right? I mean, it's going to continue on down for a long way, and that is the picture that we see here in Revelation 18. See a continuing conversation about, or this picture and an image that John is seeing of this great harlot in Babylon. And you'll notice this is complete opposition, or complete opposite of the bride of Christ. You have this harlot and the harlotry of Babylon, and whether or not it'll be a physical city that will be built, like a physical Babylon, or if it is another city that represents it, or even if it's just really just talking about kind of a general like commercialism and materialism, because all of those things can be true. Now, for it to be destroyed so quickly, I'm going to lean more towards it is a system that's set up, but it's in one place. At this point, it's going to be central to commercialism, central to a lot of work that's going on because of the things that are said amongst the passage. Regardless, right, as you look at it, this Babylon has, she's messed with everybody. She has had her hand in everything. And now what is going to happen is that her fall is going to be complete. It's going to be complete and utter destruction for her. And the thing that you'll notice as you read, as always, I encourage you to read the whole chapter. It says that it'll happen in a day, and then it says that it happens in an hour, that it happens in an hour. And it's speaking to the quickness, the rapidness with which she will fall. And that's how so many people are devastated, that because it affects all of them. And this will be all those in the tribulation. Now, he does give warning and says, hey, you believers, get away from her. The believers that are still in the tribulation, you need to get away from Babylon. Don't be tied to her, because you need to come out from among her. You need to get out away from her. One, because that's the wrong place to be. It is evil. It is evil seduction, and for even just everything in the city. Kind of think about like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Get out now, so you can be protected. And too many of us, you think about Lot and his wife, right? That they had to be drug out of there basically by the angel to keep them, because they were so tempted by what was there. And that's why why Lot's wife even turned away and turned back, because she longed for that she was leaving. And that's why he says, even here in the tribulation time, get away from it. Because here's what's going to happen: she's going to be destroyed. And then there's at least a reason why. Let's at least understand the reason why this Babylon will be destroyed, and that is the fall we'll look at today. Revelation 18, verses 21 through 24. Then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, thus with violence the great city Babylon shall be thrown down, and shall not be found any more. The sound of harpists, musicians, flutists, and trumpeters shall not be heard in you any more. No craftsman of any craft shall be found in you any more, and the sound of a millstone shall not be heard in you any more. The light of a lamp shall not shine in you any more, and the voice of the bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you any more. For your merchants were great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived, and in her found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth. Somehow, some way, through this Babylon, All the prophets and saints have been killed. That's what will get you the kind of the idea of a commercialism or materialism. That isn't that what has killed everybody anyway, right? So many Christians that have been murdered and killed, and you say, well, wait a minute, they weren't martyred for their faith. Yeah, but how many people have in our society today have been killed because somebody else was trying to get ahead? Somebody else was trying to get another dollar, was trying to pass them, and it was all about that commercialism or materialism, right? Robbed and trying to steal what they had. See, this whole idea is that it's so prevalent in our world today that it's not that far of a stretch to imagine it at some time in the tribulation, especially when you don't have the restraining of the church, the Holy Spirit that's residing in the church to be present there at that time. And that even goes back to the beginning, is that as the church is removed, why things continue to get worse and worse and worse. But now, having seen this, now you can just imagine what all is going on, what the people there would be thinking. They see this great Babylon that all of a sudden, this is the one that, I mean, the great kings of the earth at this time, the ones who are in charge, they're all in cahoots with her, right? Along with the phrase, right? They're all in bed with her. And they continue to commit sin with her. And so now that's why the people will be so devastated, is because so many have been attached to her. Yet she is seemed to be untouchable, seemed to be that nobody could do anything to her. But yet, when God says it's time for her to fall, she'll be cast into the sea like a millstone. And some of those millstones, huge, 4 or 5 feet tall, maybe a foot or more thick, and that they would roll around and use for crushing grain. And then you'd have that, and they could weigh 1,000 pounds. And he says this great stone cast into the sea. That was going to represent her. She'd be cast down, never to be revived again. That's why you'll see that in the verse right before where we started reading, it says the heaven rejoiced. Heaven rejoiced because all that she had done, not just to heaven, but all that she had done to the saints and the ones down below, the ones who had been suffering even still, because now she was going to pay for all that she had done. This is kind of going along with all that we've seen in Revelation, that the saints that have been praying for judgment for so long, that God has been waiting patiently so that all would come to salvation that would. And then those who continue to refuse, that then in that day, their fall will be great too. You can see, because, these people are going to mourn. Much like I saw one commentator, he used the example of 9/11 and how quickly it happened, how sudden it happened, and how sudden the sadness was, how sudden the people that, think about if that was to happen like on Wall Street and for the stock market and things like that, or huge places that are even now that are hubs for a lot of things going on in the world. If that was to happen, imagine how many just so quickly would say, man, my life is over. We are devastated. We have nothing. And they would mourn for the loss of life, but more importantly, they would be they would be weeping for their own loss. A selfishness, even in that. That's what we're going to see, or what they're going to see in the tribulation. Now, again, I say, the same way that God was speaking to them and the angel was saying, get out from away from Babylon now. It is just the same for those in the tribulation as it is for you and I today. It is imperative that we also flee from the things of the world. That we are in this world, but we are not to be of this world, lest we fall as well. Today, keep your eyes on God. Keep your eyes on Him. Do the things that He would call you to do, and don't be seduced by the lies of the enemy, because her fall will be great and devastatingly eternal. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.